Greetings and welcome to Mz.Rootz online education sessions. In this short session, we're going to be discussing whether it's really necessary for us to have qualifications, and where does the whole qualification framework come from? What has inspired the framework? And do we actually need a certificate to accredit our learning? Can we teach ourselves? Is it important to understand how qualifications are made up? How do we achieve PhD knowledge without actually going to university? Is this something we can actually do? So let me introduce you to some theory. The first scholar, theorist, that I want to enlighten you about is a man called Abraham Maslow. He came up with this concept of there being a hierarchy of needs. And in order for you to reach your self-actualization, which is the highest point of your learning abilities, apparently, you have to have taken these steps. Now, obviously it's theory, so you can always, criticize or critique or critically think about theory. But it's worthwhile studying and understanding his mindset. So let's go through it a little bit. First of all, can you identify the pyramid? You know that our ancestors used the pyramid symbolically throughout our history, and it wasn't anything about having power at the top. It was more about taking steps to get to where you want to be. So that's what the symbology originally was around the pyramid. Nothing to do with power. So anyway, let's go back to Abraham Maslow. He identified the need to have psychological foundations. So these are things we need in the nature, such as food, water, sleep. As you can see, that's the red zone. And actually, anybody that knows anything about chakras would seriously be able to identify the root chakra as being red, and also Maslow's hierarchy of needs here as being depicted, the foundation level as being red. He says until you have this baseline level, you cannot graduate onto the next level, which is about safety, property, feeling safe, a family unit. Is this making sense? Let me know within the comment section. The third step he identified, once you've achieved safety and you've got, firm roots in the nature, if you like, then you have to have friendships, intimacy, love, and belonging. The step above that then would develop your self-esteem, confidence. So he's saying you would have to have achieved all these levels before you really get to achieve this level here. Once you've achieved these levels, you then become self-actualized. You become a free spirit. You're able to achieve anything you like. And that would involve your ability to be creative, solve problems. Now, critiques could rip this apart and say, especially in the spiritual world, they'd say, you have to have hit rock bottom before you can self-actualize. Like most people who reach a level of consciousness have been in a dark place. So you could actually springboard from base straight up to self-actualization. But again, I think it's a worthwhile theory to be aware of because it links to other theories that I'm about to present to you today. So I briefly touched on the notion of chakras and the chakra system. There's the pyramid. And as I said, our ancestors, they knew a lot more than we know today. Can you see the correlation between Maslow's hierarchy of needs and the chakra system? Our ancestors taught us that we had key energy points within our bodies that needed opening up and acknowledging. And this is done through meditation or a level of consciousness. Can you see the correlation between the colours used in Maslow's hierarchy of needs? And also the correlation of what he considers education. Yeah, there's the root chakra, which is the foundation level in Maslow's hierarchy, right up to the crown chakra here, indigo, highest level of consciousness, self-actualization. Can you see how we have implemented our ancient knowledge into the education system today, and how this is a holistic approach to how education could be delivered, offered, shared? I'm going to leave that to you to think about. Again, Mz.Rootz is just here to trigger those critical thinking minds and to get you overstanding a system that's been covered up and not acknowledged. So let's have a look at the UK Qualification Framework and how education frameworks are laid out in the UK. So look, there's the pyramid. Those are the steps. Yes? So it's expected when you leave school, this is age 15 if you're a summer baby, and 16 if you are a winter baby, you're expected to be at level 1 or 2, which is GCSE level. Yes? When you leave school with your GCSEs, you're then expected to graduate and do your A-levels. This is considered level 3. From your A-levels, you then go on to do your specialisms, which is like a foundation degree, your diplomas, etc., etc., level 4. And the highest level of achievement would be, there's actually a level above this, which would be a PhD. So level 7 is actually a master's degree. And the final level would be considered the ultimate, where you are creating knowledge, which is your PhD. That is level 8. Okay? Now, all of this is governed by age. Yes? And you have to have hit a certain level of ability to pass and graduate, which I will explain further on in this session. I hope you can see the correlation between the chakra system and Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And the pyramid is featured throughout all of these frameworks. So let's take a closer look at this framework that's in place. And I've emphasized before that my training has taken place in the UK, but I know that this model is replicated globally. So this will be relative to wherever you are in the world. And if your children or your families are in institutionalized education, this will be a framework that is followed. So, if I point out at the bottom here that when you leave school, sixth form, when you are 15, 16, that is in the UK, you, as I stated, will be expected to have achieved these 3 levels here. The more cleverer, and I say in inverted commas, the more intelligent student would have left school with grades A to C. This is changed now in the UK. They're now using a numerical system. Yeah, so it's no longer ABC. It's now 1, 2, 3. And the highest grade is measured by the highest number. And the lowest grade would be, say, 1. So it's a point system now that we're using. Can you see the graduation? This is a one-dimensional diagram, but there is a pyramid. If you can visualize the pyramid in your head, it's there. I mentioned the highest level being your doctorate at level 8 here. So this is a diagram for you to visualize how you graduate through school, college and university if we're tapping into a national curriculum. Let me know how many of you knew this, how many of you understood this structure, and if you did know, who taught you? Nobody's teaching us this stuff, I don't think, unless you are specialists in this field. And I feel that parents should have an understanding of a framework that is applied to their children and even themselves, and the level of expectation. Yeah. Also, fathom how many years of being in institutionalized education it takes to achieve their doctorate level. This is years of study. This diagram only depicts after high school, so this doesn't even include levels achieved at primary school. Mz.Rootz subscribes to the notion of education occurring in terms of levels, not necessarily in age cohorts. It all depends on what level you are at, and these levels can occur at any age. So let's look a little bit more deeper into what makes a qualification a qualification. What makes level 1 level 1? Yeah? What is it you need to do to achieve a level 1? And it all revolves around this theory called Bloom's taxonomy. We have lifted this theory and applied it directly to our curriculums, nationally and internationally. Can you see the pyramid? Yeah, of course you can. But the colours are in flip reverse on this pyramid, ironically. Let's look at the base level. So the base level would be in conjunction with your level 1 or your root chakra, yeah? Or your baseline needs, if we're talking about Maslow. And it's measured by your ability to remember. So it's saying you're level 1, you're a GCSE student, but at foundation level GCSE, if you can remember stuff. So if you can apply these measurable verbs here, such as, are you able to define? Are you able to repeat? Are you able to list or memorize certain facts, certain pieces of information if you can do this, then you're level 1. Yeah? In order to graduate, the next natural stage would be for you to understand. Yeah? So you are a level 2 student, higher level GCSE, if you can understand, which means, can you describe? Look at the measurable verbs. Can you discuss? Can you identify? Yeah? And it goes up again. In order to graduate from this blue level to the green level, yeah, and it has to be done in these stages according to Bloom's taxonomy, if you can apply, which means can you execute, can you demonstrate, can you operate, yeah, if you can do this, then you are an A-level student, which is the next step to becoming a university student, who is then expected to analyze, yeah, the measurable verbs. So here, can you compare, can you contrast, yes, and so on. Your final qualification, which is your PhD, is the ability to create, yeah, and you know a PhD is all about creating a piece of knowledge, something that somebody hasn't found out before. Within our online sessions, you'll see that I have embedded these sciences within our learning and teaching. I haven't suggested that my sessions are for any age group, but I do suggest that you have to be at a certain level to comprehend the sessions and the content of. At the end of each session, we carry out a check your learning, and you will see some of those measurable verbs. If you are able to complete some of these questions, look out for these measurable verbs to see what level you are at. You'll notice that within the check your learning at the end, I have mixed up all the levels to make sure that my sessions cover all levels of learning. So with all of these theories that I have summarized, you can see that actually you have the ability to teach yourself and apply these theories and knowledge to when you are educating your young people at home. Specifically, home educators. I feel all home educators should be aware of these sciences. Family learning is key, and my sessions are designed with families in mind. I envision that we have a centralized session at home where my resources are maybe projected onto the front room TV, or in the family room where children, parents, aunties, uncles, grandmas, doesn't matter what age you are. As I said, it's about levels where you come together and maybe do these sessions as a family. What happens is when families learn together, you are role modelling. So the elders in the family are role modelling to the youngers in the family. For instance, if a father has a session with a son, then the father has the ability to bring their son up to a certain or a higher level, maybe even the same level that he's learning at, just through discussions. Now we know discussions are level 2, moving on towards A level. Yes, A level is the ability to then access university. If a father is studying with his son, then the role modelling has the ability to bring that son up. What we often do is we often give our children a book and say, go to your bedroom and go do your homework, and this is not motivational, this is boring in fact. Whereas if you make it not so blatant, the learning, and it's something that you're doing as a family, then the learning becomes more of a natural, organic process. And we know that children love to almost impress their parents or impress their elders. So by learning together, you get this natural graduation of levels of learning occurring. Let me know what you think of that session about levels, learning and qualifications. Did you like it? Did you learn something new? Is it something that you're going to be applying?